Thank you. Finally, we're sorry for this 10 minutes delay that relate to some technical issues out of our control, but thank you all for helping to fixing it. So I'm happy to be here today to moderate this session. I'm Miriam Ben Yahya, and I am a postdoc researcher from University of Geneva. I have been involved in cybersecurity and data privacy concerns for the last 5 years that relate to the CCAM. So I'm really delighted to be the moderator of this session because it comes at the intersection of trust and innovation. As long as the CCAM systems are integrating our lives and our cities, cybersecurity hasn't become just technical requirements, but it is more a pillar that relates to the safety, to the public trust, and also to the regulatory framework. So today we invited 4 experts, panelists from diverse European projects that are leading in the cybersecurity domain. We would like to get their insights and their feedback from their experience on how they tackle the cybersecurity topic and how they designed adequate solutions that gathers risk assessment, collaborative solutions, and situational awareness solutions. So before we get their insights, we would like to go through a very short overview of the technical and the complex architecture of the CCAM that relies on multiple layers. So starting from the in-vehicle part, where we have various hardware, including the sensors, lidars, cutting edges, cameras, and also the ECUs, which are main brains of the automated vehicles. Still in the in-vehicle part, we have all the in-vehicle communication that makes the communication between the ECUs happen through the CAN bus or the Ethernet. All of this to make the autonomous decision-making operate through some innovative software within the vehicle. All of this relies on extensive external communications. This includes the vehicle-to-vehicle communication, the vehicle-to-infrastructure communication, the cloud communication, and also the edge. So such complex architecture, makes it possible for various pilot sites to happen by today in Europe. And we're not talking here about simulators or test beds, but we're talking about real pilot sites where automated vehicles are operating on real roads. So I would like just to clarify the scope here, because we are talking about the highly connected and automated vehicles that are classified on level 3 onward. It's not common. The next slide, please. Yes. Thank you. And that's what I wanted to clarify, is that this session is focused on level 3, level 4, and level 5, where the decision-making relies not just on a driver at level 3, but partially or completely on the technology of the vehicle. So this means that these vehicles, they are supposed to be able to navigate autonomously, take decisions independently from the human interactions at any situation. This includes any situation like a cyber attack. And with this, I would like to share with you the main or the potential threats that can occur to the CCAM. We talk first and mainly about taking control remotely over the vehicle, where attackers can take control over the braking system, the acceleration system, or also the steering system. location tracking is another potential threat when we are talking about attackers who are able to monitor the vehicle location through some period of time. And by tracking the vehicle, we are talking also about tracking the passengers, which raises safety and privacy issues. LiDAR tampering and perception attack makes it possible for attackers to disrupt the obstacle recognition of the vehicle. So, for example, the vehicle can be blinded from a real obstacle or can perceive something that doesn't even exist. So, at this stage, I would like to hear your opinion. Do you think that we are really ready for these attacks? Are there enough efforts to be protected from these threats? So, we raised this question through a survey. Please scan the QR and provide your answer. Yes, let's see if you think really there are enough efforts or partially there are efforts. It's fine also to say, I don't know. If you have your phones. Okay. The result seems to be stable. So I see that the majority voted with a no. And by this, I accept your opinion, and I would like to give you some good news, because there are efforts, and a lot of efforts behind this. I'm sorry, the slides don't follow properly. Yes. So in terms of efforts, there are huge efforts from several working groups mainly everywhere, but talking here about the European efforts, we're talking about the European regulations that cover the smart mobility topic, smart cities, through several regulations like the Cyber Resilience Act, the Cybersecurity Act, the second NIS directive. We are talking also about a lot of efforts from standardization bodies like ISO, SA, and others. But the most potential one we need to mention at this level are the mandatory regulations from the UNECE, mainly the R155 and R156, which became mandatory at the type approval stage, and it needs to be redone 3 years later. And with this mandation or obligatory step, the OEMs or third-party providers, they have to do a threat analysis and risk assessment. What do we mean by threat analysis and risk assessment, or what is called the TARA, is kind of evaluatory framework that helps in identifying the threats and compile the related risks, okay? So this is something that needs to be done for almost a year now, and it needs to be done for any new vehicle. So this comes not just from the regulation, but also from the main standard, which is the ISO SA 21434. So if you want the two fundamental paths to follow, we have the UNECE regulations and the ISO standard. So TARA and other solutions will be covered in today's discussion with our 4 panelists that I'm glad to introduce here. Our first panelist is Dr. Anastasia Collin, who is senior researcher and co-director of the ISEC lab. She has been involved in several European projects and national funded projects that provide practical solutions to the smart mobility. She comes today to share with us her insights about the ULTIMO project and the AutoTRUST project that are focused on secure mobility solutions. So beyond her impressive research records, Dr. Colin, she's truly passionate about data privacy. So for her, it's not professional concern, but it's personal challenge that she's tackling for every day. Our second panelist is Mr. Victor Jimenez from EUCAD, and he comes today to share with us his experience as coordinator of several cybersecurity projects, mainly SELFY and Connect. He has impressive research records, and what is more impressive is that he is truly cybersecurity expert with above 10 ethical hacking certifications. So really, if you feel insecure about your system or you are doubting, for sure, Mr. Jimenez, he will have a solution for you, and he will be the best person to guide you in this context. Our third panelist is Dr. Atia Cortes from the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. She's a computer scientist, and she did her master and PhD focused on artificial intelligence. So she comes today to share with us her experience from the AI for CCAM project, where she is mapping the AI to the societal needs. And she is a very special militant about women in IT. So she should be probably very happy with today's session setup that we can call gender balanced or unbalanced to some extent. Our fourth panelist is Dr. Laure de Kock from IMEC. So she is an innovation specialist that is focused completely on the mobility. She has a PhD in indoor navigation and postdoc background in smart crowd management. So she's blending here mostly the technical, the practical, and theoretical concepts that relate to AI innovation and mobility data spaces. So as a geographer, she has natural talent to see the big picture and find details. And we count on her today to guide our session with her expertise as geographer. So I will start the discussion with, I need to move with my, we will try to do it seamlessly as the automated driving. So no need for this, I think. Okay, let's start with Dr. Colin. So I know that you have been involved in several projects since early 2018 and 2019 that consider security over the CCAM. Back in the time, you started with kind of experimental vehicle model, while now you are involved in the ULTIMO project with more extended technology, larger deployment scope, and with different or more developed vehicle setup. So could you share with us your pathway and experience in tackling the cybersecurity challenges in CCAM?
Of course, with pleasure. So indeed, it all started, is the mic working? This one as well, yeah. It all started in our lab around 2018 when we got drifted and very interested with this very new, cool, exciting technology of the automated vehicles. Back in the days in Switzerland, we had few representatives of such vehicles, but when they arrived at the doorstep in Geneva, close to our lab, that was a very exciting moment. I remember it very clearly. And in our lab, like historically, we were working a lot in the IoT-enabled ecosystem, where we were looking specifically at the risk assessment automation. So our initial thought was to treat these vehicles, highly automated vehicles, as a representative of the IoT ecosystem on its own. So naturally, first, what we actually did, we were trying to understand what traditional cybersecurity measures and threats would be applicable within this environment. So this is like where Avenue project came in, and this, while it was not focused on the cybersecurity at all, well, I mean, it was like more transversal activity, but we really put some efforts in the lab in digging it deeper, trying to find the differences between the new, like existing threats and maybe new threats that are specific for the CAV environment. And at this point, we also collaborated with the legal experts because we were very much interested in, like, when we have these highly automated vehicles, of course, we will rely a lot on the data, and we wanted to understand to what extent the GDPR will help us to preserve certain privacy or how compliant we are with the privacy. And this is where we built like the first mapping between all kinds of legal in alignment, if I can say like that, with the actual state of the affairs regarding the cybersecurity and the privacy. And what we also were looking, evidently, it's at the standardization and justification recommendations. And what we realized that there is a huge discrepancy and underrepresentation if we're talking about the vehicles of the automation level 3 and plus in terms of the risk assessment procedures. I will give you an example. For example, if we think about the GNSS signal jamming, it's a very different risk scope if it's the vehicle of automation level 3, where you still can have the fallback mode on the driver, or if it's highly automated or fully automated driving the vehicle, and in this case, the vehicle probably will stop, or there is no fallback method per se. And if we dig a little bit deeper, and let's imagine the situation where the vehicle can be remotely controlled and we can hijack this control, then again, the impact of the risk assessment is very drastically different whether we look at the level 3 vehicle, where driver probably will notice that the vehicle has a strange behavior or maybe take another path from whatever was initially planned, or if it's level 4 and 5. Again, the same thing here is happening, that it will take a lot of time for it to notice. And secondly, also the feasibility of this kind of attack is much higher. So this is when we came to the realization that existing TARA framework has quite some limitations. And this is nicely the work that we actually build upon a lot in the ULTIMO project, that we kind of still trying to push to the standardization level as well. Eventually, I hope. That's our big ambition behind it. And on that, what is it that we trying to solve in addition with this revised TARA framework? Not only the distinction between different automation levels, but also reliance on the expert knowledge. As you know, risk assessment is quite a manual process. It's quite individually bound process in terms of your expertise. While some can think that maybe we can outnumber this by executing the same assessment, maybe with different experts at the same time, and maybe then kind of average the results to have more objective opinion, it's still a challenge. And then again, this TARA process is highly manual process. According to this certification, we need to execute it at least every 3 years, right? But again, if we think about the highly automated environment and vehicles, the updates are constantly coming, new features are developed. You cannot permit yourself to have this risk assessment being executed only once at the beginning of the project. It's something that we need to have continuously being executed. And the third point that was probably more personal to me is also to include the privacy notion, because the TARA, standard TARA is actually using Stride and and the Mitra, and what we actually wanted to put more emphasis on the privacy, and therefore we included all kind of different attributes specific to privacy within the TARA. So that's kind of the activity.
Thank you very much. I'm just not sure if this mic is working.
Yeah, it is working. This one is not working? Yeah, okay. Keep it close with your mouth. Like this, better all the time? Okay.
Okay. So you mentioned that among the enhancement that you proposed in the TARA that you developed in the ULTIMO project is the privacy aspect that you love so much. But at the end of the day, it remains a hot topic to bring on the table. It's like the hot potato, right? Who would like to catch the hot potato? But concretely, how was your experience to defend this topic? How did you manage to unify all the opinions that maybe can bring diverse positions related to all the stakeholders of the CCAM environment, including the academic actors, the industry, and also the policymakers?
It's true. It's a very hard question. It's a very hard topic to bring on the table, especially when you discuss with the manufacturers as well, because data and everything that comes around the data, it's like the golden of the air, right? So trying to put your hand on top of it and say, hey, we cannot truly use all the data the way we want, it's always a challenge. So you probably already heard maybe at least once in your life the expression that privacy is dead. It's not something that I strongly agree with, because I think now we are quite in the turning point. Not that long time ago, I think it was the Firefox Foundation who executed the research on the privacy within the normal standard vehicles to see to what extent we are violating different privacy aspects. And the conclusion was quite drastic and a bit scary, that actually the vehicle, standard vehicle, is the worst place to be in terms of the privacy. Any sensitive conversations, you better not to have them in your vehicle. And here we're talking about connected and automated driving in a highly sophisticated way, where we need a lot of data inside the vehicle, outside the vehicle. So for me, the way I see it is actually that now we are in a very opportune time where we can do some change regarding the privacy. Because this dream vehicle of level 5 that still kind of does not exist, we are still developing it. So right now we can impose certain privacy by design rules, maybe more stronger policies, maybe make it part of the standardization and the certification process before these vehicles will be even allowed on the road, to really integrate the privacy inside. So that's my vision, how I think we can tackle it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Colin, for your insights. It is really interesting to see how dedicated teams, even within large projects like ULTIMO, where cybersecurity is just transversal aspect, is not completely focused on cybersecurity, but dedicated team can bring impactful results. And thank you very much for that. So we would like to hear from Connect and SELFY projects, which are fully on cybersecurity topic, with a long list of impressive achievements. And for example, the SELFY project that has just closed very recently with a lot of results on the self-assessment on dynamic intrusion detection system. So would you like, Mr. Jimenez, to share with us the advancements that you found and that are applicable to CCAM?
Hi, thank you, Mariam, for the introduction. Thank you, Anastasia, and the rest of panelists. And also we are lucky that there are some people of SELFY project here. So when you have questions, I will redirect maybe. So be aware about that. And yeah, I'm coordinating technically the SELFY project. And yesterday we have the SELFY, the final event of SELFY is finishing in 2-3 weeks. And we were lucky also our sister project, Connect, they joined also a panel discussion there. And I am really lucky that they are here today, some of them, because they could yesterday provide us really an overview of what they do. I think it's really interesting. So yeah, first of all, maybe I make a presentation of the SELFY project, and afterwards I will see also, please correct me also, the Connect colleagues about the other sister project. So related to SELFY, SELFY is a toolbox, and yeah, you are right, it goes about cybersecurity on the CCAM. And what we try to do is to provide a set of, it's a toolbox that can be deployed at the CCAM ecosystem, at the cloud level, at infrastructure level, and at vehicle level. And we have 3 macro tools that you can see on the slide there. The idea is that these 3 macro tools, they collaborate each other, they share some information, and with sharing of this sharing of information, with this collaboration, we are providing resilience to the system. So the first macro tool, it goes about situational awareness and collaborative perception. So we have a set of tools that they are deployed, as commented, on the vehicle with cameras, sensors, on the infrastructure also with cameras, sensors. So we are gathering this information, we make fusion of this information, and it provides this awareness of what is happening on the system, and we can also, there are some kind of attacks that can be prevented. The second macro tool, it goes about resilience. So in that macro tool, we have the VSOC, a Vehicle Security Operations Center, that is collecting all the events of the rest of the tools. Many tools, they connect to the VSOC, they provide inputs of what's happening in terms of maybe an attack, a vulnerability, an anomaly. This kind of information is collected by the VSOC, which is analyzing, providing levels of trust to the different tools. And it has also some reactions. It can respond and maybe trigger a secure software over the air, or can trigger an audit action to a roadside unit to detect if such vehicle, maybe we detected an anomaly, so let's see if there is a vulnerable software running on this vehicle. So these kind of tools, they are there. There are other tools related to the case that you commented. It was really nice. We have a safety operational tool that in case that vehicle, in the same case you were commenting, if there is a degradation of the signal on the GNSS, if there is an attack, spoofing attack on the vehicle, this tool can provide a safe reaction, a safe degraded mode to the vehicle and make a safe stop of the vehicle also. So it has to be, we have to consider always security. The interest here is to bring safety also to the vehicle, okay? And okay, there are many tools. I don't want to extend myself to all the tools. Then the third macro tool, it goes about the trust and data management system. So here there are some tools that provide this trust. We have this secure software over the air tool to make secure downloads of the vehicle in case a vulnerability is detected. And we have other tools that provide trust to the system and also trust to the end user. We have anonymization tools related to the privacy also, concerns of the end users, because if the privacy is not guaranteed, as you are commenting, maybe the end users doesn't want to adopt such technologies. So there will be anonymization of the faces of the road users, and also of the plates of the vehicles and so on. And okay, we have other kind of privacy tools like preventing, you know, with V2X, it's possible to track a vehicle. So there are some tools that prevent to track vehicles also. So this is an important tool also related to privacy and to this trust of the end users. And okay, at the end, SELFY, it goes like this. All the tools collaborate each other, and we provide like, we try to do this situational awareness, the trust and data management system, at the end, increasing the levels of resilience. Okay, more or less, I think that's the thing with this project. And then maybe we can jump into the next slide.
Connect.
Yeah, our sister project, which is called Connect. And okay, there is one topic. We were commenting about trust, but you know, trust is maybe it's essential. No, all the elements on the CCAM environment, we have to assure that we can trust them. No, and the trust maybe it varies during the time, so we have to make continuous assessment of the trust. And the trust, if you trust a roadside unit that is providing to you an information and it's a fake information, you could run over a pedestrian, okay? So it's strictly related to safety, okay? So trust, security, safety, this link, it's quite important. So the main concept in Connect, I think it's trust, okay? Is this trust assurance, and we have here the main objective is to build this trust management framework. Okay, so they have this zero trust paradigm, okay, with a zero trust assessment architecture. Yeah, so they are analyzing, they have some methodologies and tools in order to assess this trust, and to provide this trust, it's important to have this secure chip to cloud and this decentralized root of trust. These are some technologies that they have adopted. They work also with mobile edge computing on the edge, and okay, and they have validated the project in 3 pilots. Okay, I think more or less this is the main idea of the project. But later, if there are some questions, also there are some colleagues that I am looking to them that for sure they can provide more inputs. Yeah, so. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to return back to the SELFY toolbox that you mentioned. And you talked about the continuous risk assessment methodology that has been developed. Mm-hmm. Is it dedicated just to the V2X context, for example, or you evaluated other use cases?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really nice topic also. Linking to Anastasia, we met before, okay? We met before, we were preparing the meeting. And I was really glad to see that in one of the projects that she's representing, you make this enhancement of the TARA. Because at the SELFY project also in the beginning of the project, in the work package 2 with system definition and system requirements and so on, at some moment we considered, are we considering all the threats? Should we do a TARA? Yeah, the answer was yes. So we were checking for the documentation. We checked the TARA, which suggests the UN 155. And we saw that it's really related to vehicle and to the link to the base of that vehicle. But we considered that for the whole ecosystem of the CCAM, there was some need of enhancement of this TARA. Therefore, at the end, the option that we took is we checked for the ENISA guidelines. There are some guidelines of the threats that they are related to the smart cars, and we use this methodology. It's a pity that you didn't end your project. We could have used it. Yeah. So we use this as a threat, as the list of threats, and we did this threat and risk assessment, and we derived some system requirements that it has been applied to all the different SELFY tools. At the end of the project, we have validated all the requirements which we can satisfy, which we cannot satisfy at the moment. But as you commented, there are many loops. So we will see.
We can do a new project on that.
Exactly. For sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So now I would like to shift the discussion from the risk assessment to the trust and safety, which is at the end of the day, the ultimate goals of cybersecurity, right? So to Dr. Cortes, we would like to hear from the AI for CCAM project, and mainly on the result that you disseminated since like the midterm of your project that concerns all the trust and safety related to the decision making in the CCAM.
Yeah. So hello, thank you for the invitation. The AI for CCAM project is a project we've been already working for 2.5 years. And the objective in the end is to design an environment methodology that is trustworthy, and we try to apply this trustworthiness in the whole life cycle of an AI-based system. So here, in the end, we are developing 3 different use cases which are related to to AI. You can see them here. So there is a first use case with Skoda, in which we try to improve or enhance an AI-based ADAS. Then there's a second one that is working on explainable AI with ACODIS in terms of predictability, trajectory, etc. Here we are using a digital twin. And then there's a third one more regarding user acceptance and testing a new technology on communication with pedestrians. So the idea here in the end is to try to ensure this trustworthiness, as I said, in the whole life cycle, from the design, from the initial phase in which we are collecting user requirements, technical requirements, in order to make sure that we are adhering to the different ethical guidelines, now also coming with the AI Act, from the early stage of the project. And then we have also been reviewing the other phases from data engineering, model design and testing, and then finally with the validation of the use cases. So in this project mainly we are working with simulated environments, simulated scenarios, also creating synthetic data for these scenarios. Urban scenarios, sorry. We have also a work package that is fully dedicated to study and understand which are the different ethical and social challenges and requirements that we have for the project. And we also have a dedicated part in here to investigate about cybersecurity risks. And then, as I said, we are simulating all these interactions into the different use cases. So in particular, for the part of the cybersecurity, we have been working on 2 main developments. One of them is to build a simulator for networks and communications. So here we are working on V2X. That is compliant with the European standards on networks and security. This is very important because there has been a literature review on the existing technologies, and we found out that there are different simulators, but there's none of them that is fully compliant with all the different standards that they are here. So the contribution from this project was to build this platelet simulator, it's called, in which we can then also follow the different characteristics that the simulator and the car are collecting in order to see a little bit, understand the kind of communications that they are building. This is very important because if we want to make sure that the simulations that we are doing and the tests that we are doing are reliable, are trusted, or can be trusted, it's very important to also comply with these standards, because otherwise, once we put it into real environments, we won't be able to ensure that these are following the technology requirements. And then there is a second development regarding data positioning. So I don't think that you can see it very much, but here we have the architecture of the project, which is the digital framework of the project. So we have different AI models that have been developed and trained. So this is the red area. We have different data sets that are being collected or created or used from public data sets. And then there is this environment in which we define the characteristics of the scenarios that will be used to test the different use cases. And it's very important because we are using open data sets, which is very useful because we know that it's very difficult to obtain data and vast amounts of data. That is what we need nowadays. But there is also the risk with these open data sets that we, so if we do not put some processes to ensure the quality of the data, then we are not guaranteeing that this data is not being poisoned. So it's a kind of attack that we can face on this. So we are building, this is still work in progress, but we are building this kind of sanitizer, let's say, in which we analyze open data sets and we try to identify if these data were manipulated and clean them, let's say, before putting them into use to train our AI-based models. So this would be the main developments of the project for now on cybersecurity.
Thank you very much. I would like to move to DistriMuSe and CITCOM projects, which are two other European-funded projects that are focused on safety and trust, with interesting efforts in testing reliable distributed systems and sensor fusion architectures, while maintaining the compliance to the key regulations. So, Dr. De Cock, could you tell us more about this project and how you are progressing towards achieving your objectives?
Sure. Well, a very large part of IMEC's work in both projects is about sensor fusion, because sensor fusion can enhance safety and trust by enabling a better and more reliable understanding of a complex environment. For example, in DistriMuSe, multiple sensors on a vehicle will be combined with multiple roadside units that again have multiple sensors. And this to improve detection of vulnerable road users, especially in challenging conditions such as poor lighting and bad weather conditions, because those are the conditions where autonomous systems today are still failing. So we are trying to fix that in these projects. And additionally, the sensor fusion can also help in mitigating spoofing attacks or perception attacks, as you showed on your first introductory slides, because research today showed that current autonomous systems actually slow down, they break when you project a human on a road or a traffic sign on the road, because they cannot see the difference between a real human and a real traffic sign and a projection. So this could be dangerous, and it could be solved by using other types of sensors besides the one that are currently on most vehicles. So the regular RGB visual cameras, when you put thermal cameras there, radar, infrared, this could become more safe.
Yeah, thank you very much. So what barriers to implementation have you identified in these projects? And to what extent you had a role from the member states and the industry pushing forward such implementation, especially that they require real testing environments for validation?
Yeah, well, these technologies are highly complex. So we need to be able to test them in real life, because we need to be able to test the impact before it can be scaled up and rolled out. And this is why the European Commission thought of a new concept. It's called Testing and Experimenting Facilities, TEFs in short. And CITCOM.ai is one of those TEFs. And the idea is that those are permanent testing infrastructures where you can test new AI solutions in real environments. So within this project, a lot of cities are involved in a lot of different member states that are now trying to figure out together, okay, we really want this new technology tested in our cities because it's important. How can we do that? Which regulations are there today that enable it, which are lacking? So this is really a super important initiative where member states and industry come together to push this forward.
Yeah, so we are talking here about real testing, which involves real people. And by real people, we're talking about real data. So then how you manage or handle the privacy on that context?
Good question. There are a lot of aspects to be considered there, but I guess especially in this project by closely working together with the cities. So they each have their DPO who is concerned about privacy, and we try to come up together with a way of working that allows it. For example, just now, today, there was a press release of the city of Mechelen in Belgium, who will put up IMEX sensors on different locations in their city. So that's the result of 2 years of discussing with them how we could do this, which frameworks we can use. And sometimes it's difficult because we all want to protect the privacy, of course, but today really showed that we can reach those goals together if we think about what we can do instead of what we cannot do. That helps.
Thank you very much for sharing all the insights related to testing and validation, which is a critical step towards the AVs or the connected and automated vehicles acceptance. Talking about the acceptance, would like to talk about the AutoTRUST project, which has great focus on human factors. So, Dr. Colin, could you share with us more about this aspect, and how does the AutoTRUST approach the challenge of translating technical safety into perceived safety for end users?
Well, if I'm really honest, I don't have the answer for you yet, because actually that's one of the things that the AutoTRUST, one of the pillars actually that it's working on the personalizing different kind of services within the mobility domain and looking specifically at the human factor. But we do not have the results yet. It's the study that is currently like at the early design stage / beginning of the execution of it. And within our team, specifically what we are looking at it's at the influence. We're looking at the perception of the cyber risks and how it can influence the acceptance of the technology. Well, while I cannot give you the answer, there are still some recent studies that were published, if I'm not mistaken, last year. One of the biggest study that was run in the English-speaking environment regarding the possible obstacles that are kind of forbidding or influencing in general the citizens in accepting this automated vehicles technology. And what is sure that any issues related with cybersecurity or privacy is one of the main pillars on the blockage of the acceptance of this technology. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And this makes me think about the AI for CCAM, which also aims to foster the user acceptance at the automated vehicles environments. So can we get your opinion on that, Dr. Cortes?
Yeah, so it's part of one of the work packages, work package 3. We have the objectives to try to understand where where are the barriers, let's say, that could affect user acceptance on CCAM technology. And in this sense, there's been a lot of work done, particularly by BVA. They are sitting here, and they will have a panel session also tomorrow. They can give you more answers about that. But they've been doing quantitative research and then also a qualitative, no, other side, qualitative and then quantitative research regarding user acceptance, user adoption. So the quantitative research was carried in different cities in Europe. I think it was 6 cities in Europe, right? And they had these interviews representing both, let's say, tech adopters and also people that were more moderate about about this hype, let's say, and trying to see what would be for them the barriers of adopting this kind of technologies, especially for cars in higher levels of automatic levels. And after that, they also did a qualitative research in order to collect more data from different countries. And we've been performing with that one of the deliverables of the project, which are some guidelines regarding transparency, accountability, and fairness, trying to understand a little bit what would be there also the factors that would impact on user acceptance regarding these ethical requirements. And we have also, well, they have, BVA recently published a white paper, especially on transparency, and seeing how transparency can also affect, or how it has a direct relation to user acceptance, in particular in the way that we communicate the real capabilities or limitations of these technologies to the society. In the end, it's a very new technology. Not everyone is familiarized with this or really understand how it works, how AI works. So it's normal at the end to have some hesitance on this side, and if we don't put special attention on the way that we are communicating with the user or how we design these interfaces to provide information to car passengers, then this, for sure, it will affect user adoption or the way that we use and interact these kind of technologies. And so other than that, in the project we are building, so I showed before this architecture diagram. So we have the technical part, and then we have also a part of the project that is dedicated to develop an online platform, which is a participatory space in which we are providing different kind of content, informative content, and also different kind of surveys to just get closer to the society, but also to the rest of the CCAM stakeholders, to different aspects regarding ethical dilemmas, cybersecurity, user acceptance, transparency, etc., and try to gather different opinions and yeah, to try to understand a little bit better how this technology is perceived by the rest of the stakeholders.
Thank you very much. So if I can summarize the hot topics that we have been discussing so far. So there is the safety concern, the risk perception, we have the risk assessments, and so much others. And I would like to discuss with you, Mr. Jimenez, looking ahead, what are the key advancements do you think that are required to make cybersecurity seamlessly integrated to the CCAM while considering these challenges that we have been discussing so far?
Yeah, I think, and it was also one output of our meeting yesterday on the SELFY final event, that for the designers, okay, we have system requirements, we have technically, we know how to do some things and so on. It's true that our deployments are low scale deployments, so we should have to upscale these deployments. But it's also true that we are lacking some kind of requirements in terms of, let's say, governance or regulations, or how this deployment has to be, who is liable, reliability concerns, maintenance. This kind of systems that this deployment of the cybersecurity CCAM solution, which is deployed in vehicle, infrastructure, and cloud, how it's going to be done, who is going to be done. So at the end we said, okay, we need standards, we need regulations. This is on one side. But on the other side, I think there was also a nice discussion that some people on the public, they commented that, okay, but be careful. If we put so many regulations and we begin to talk and talk and talk, and we are not doers, we are so slow with the regulations, and it's in line also with the parliaments. We were hearing this morning at the parliament, at the official parliament, with the speakers that they were saying that we have to be faster. So at the end, I think one of the conclusions was, regulations, please, how to do it, but agile regulations, or agile procedures, let's say. Otherwise, we are slow, and we have to adopt the technologies of other regions, I think.
So in that context, and in your opinion, how can collaborative AI-based frameworks, situational awareness, and cross-sectoral partnership contribute to achieving these objectives?
Yeah, at the end, okay, in this world, one measure to increase the resilience on the CCAM ecosystem is to collaborate, sharing this data. This sharing of data with situational awareness, if we provide trust to the sources of data and so on, they provide this data, no? Which at the end is the input for AI tools, that it's obvious that we have to try to promote these tools, because the bad ones, they also are using AI tools, so we have to use AI tools. We have to use the same weapon at the end, so we have to use AI tools, but okay, to use these AI tools, we need data, as you were commenting as well. So this is something that we are checking at the SELFY project also, that it's important. And yeah, so I think these collaborative mechanisms and these AI tools, they are going to be an important actor in order to increase the resilience in the CCAM ecosystem. So it's going to be an important point. Yeah, that's the conclusion.
Thank you. And I think AI for CCAM is a good example to revisit in this discussion, because it was based on the 2021 GRC on automated vehicles that provides the AI concept as the fundamental basis for this. So in your opinion, Dr. Cortes, what are the key advancements and additional AI-based features that you developed from your project?
Yeah, so one of the first deliverables and outcomes of the project was, in fact, to design a methodology, a trustworthy AI for CCAM methodology, in collaboration with both the technical partners and the use case providers, so car manufacturers, and also people that were studying these ethical cybersecurity societal aspects. So indeed, we took as a first inspiration the JRC report, but also the Trustworthy AI Guidelines from the high-level expert group in the Commission, and the Confiance.ai framework. And so we tried to combine these three documents, and so in the end we had a list of ethical requirements regarding AI and trustworthiness that we wanted to be aligned with. We also took these ethical evaluation criteria that the JRC proposed, but what we realized is that they were very, let's say, very general, and it didn't completely apply to the use cases that we were developing. This is a general problem with AI and with these checklists or self-assessment lists that they are developing. So the first thing that we did was to work all together, as I said, all these partners together, trying to identify which were the requirements of each of the use cases, of the technologies that we were developing, and which of them could be really evaluated. And from this, we had like this mapping exercise in order to define some evaluation tables with KPIs that we wanted to validate during the project. This was done for each of the use cases because, as I said, we need to also go down and adapt it to the context that we are working on. And we also decided to, let's say, personalize these tables depending on the stakeholder that was going to answer them. So it's very different if this should be answered by an AI developer or a use case provider, a car manufacturer. No? There are different kind of questions that you need to ask to each of them, because otherwise we will fall into the same problem that people will answer like, this is not applicable, this is not my problem. So it's very important also to identify who will need to check or who is accountable, no, in the end, for each part of the process. So this was one of the first outcomes. It's a public deliverable. We have also done some publications on this aspect, and now what we are trying to do is to see once we are, we are developing all these technologies, but in the end we are facing also some ethical trade-offs. Many of them are related to cybersecurity, privacy, because there is also this trade-off regarding the amount of data that we are giving. But if this is ensuring safety on the other side, then there might be some benefit, but we need to find also what is the threshold, right? So we are trying to formalize in some way the way to define ethical trade-offs and trying to see through also the participatory space what is the opinion and how people will perceive this kind of decisions. What we want to do also is go beyond the traditional moral trade-off of the moral decision-making, not the typical one with the trolley problem, and go to more practical, let's say, applications that are more related to the JRC, to the confiance, to the trustworthy AI guidelines, etc.
Thank you very much. Dr. De Kock, can we hear your envision about how do you see the CCAM more resilient, looking ahead in the future? Like, do you see it should be more proactive? It should have more AI? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say definitely more powerful AI. And at IMEC, we believe that we cannot reach that by looking at the model alone. We have to look at the hardware as well, where that model runs. So that also means the compute, so the computer chips that run it, and the sensor. So optimizing all three together, the model, the chips, and the sensors, that will really allow to push these systems forward. And that's why in the two projects that we have some initiatives involving that aspect. In CITCOM.ai, for example, we build the Edge Lab, where we benchmark and optimize models for different edge hardwares. And in DistriMuSe, distributed architectures are being researched, where some parts of the processing is done on the edge and other parts are offloaded to the cloud, which improves energy efficiency without compromising for safety. So that would be my...
Thank you very much all for your marvelous feedback and insights. So if I would ask you just to wrap up the session in less than 1 minute, like what are the lessons to take home altogether from each one? So yeah, we can...
Shall I start?
Yes, that would be easier.
Okay. As a geographer, I would say look at the big picture, the whole system. So for sensing, that means not only the usual sensor suspects, but also different types of sensors on different locations. And for AI, that would mean not only the model, but also the hardware. So the big picture.
Well, I think it's very important to on the one side, to raise awareness about different challenges that we are facing with CCAM, in particular with cybersecurity, but also everything related to trustworthiness, to ethics, to societal aspects. I think it's very important to try to work with multidisciplinary teams, involve everyone that is in the design process, the development process, to work together. And also to get the society closer to all this, because it's very important that they really understand the technology if we want them to adopt it and to use it properly. And then, yeah, more also, I don't know, education on everything related to privacy and everything that is going on with the data that we are producing with this. Thank you.
Yeah, from my side, I think that the automated vehicles, if we want that the end users adopt this technology, for sure, as a user, I want that the vehicle is safe, because it's my life. And also, I think that the vehicle preserves my privacy. So otherwise, these technologies are not going to be adopted. So in order, regarding privacy, I think you will speak about it, and you know a lot about it. So, but relating the safety implies that it has to be security on the CCAM sector as well, and we need trust. So we need to trust all the sources that we are gathering, these data sources from all the elements of the CCAM. So more or less, I would say that points. Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of hard to conclude now that you raised all the points that I had in my mind, but what is evident, I think, is that cybersecurity, privacy, trust, user acceptance. It all comes along. It's not issues that we should work on isolation. We definitely need to bring on the table different experts coming from different expertise. And one more thing that I want to add is that at the end of the day, we should always remember for whom we are creating all these solutions. It's regular citizens, it's us people who will use this technology at the end of the day. So we should always keep it in our mind for whom we are designing it, who is the target audience, and make sure that what they want is actually what we're going to give to them at the end of the day. Trying not to deviate too much from actually our capabilities of working out these things.
Thank you very much. I would like to hear also from the audience your opinion regarding the conclusions from our established panelists. So again, the same QR code, or you can just go to the same link that you checked previously. And the idea here is to answer the question: what are areas do you believe require further attention in CCAM cybersecurity? Would this be risk assessment, IoT security, network security, AI, or policies? Don't leave it alone.
The code is at the top. The code is at the top as well, so.
Strong emphasis on the AI. Network security, it's also important. Risk assessment, I'm happy that we put some influences from the discussion on the audience. Yeah, the voting seems to be balanced. Because the larger is the word, the more votes are on this keyword. But AI is the winner, obviously. So yes, thank you for your feedback that aligns properly with the opinions from our 4 experts. And at this stage, I think that we have all a great list of take-home lessons that we can bring with us in the cybersecurity topic. So the first one that relates to the TAR, or the threat analysis and risk assessment, and the message here is that we need more advanced, more customized solutions. Regarding the distributed intelligence and sensor fusion systems, they require to relate more on safety, trust, and situational awareness and proactive solutions as well. So we rely also on AI to make the solution more dynamic. And a key step here is the cross-sectoral collaboration that gathers researchers, industry and manufacturers, and also policymakers. So with that, I would like to thank you all, and I would open the Q&A session. So the floor is yours, and we can have some volunteers for the microphone.
Thank you. So I come from a vehicle manufacturer. So I just accidentally heard that they said the vehicle is probably the worst place for. So I just want to, I'd be curious, because that might help us to improve our product. So if we take example, if we compare to a mobile phone, so why do you think it's more valuable for a vehicle than a mobile phone when it comes to cybersecurity and the privacy?
I guess it's for me, right? I would like to say that it's not more or less vulnerable than the mobile phone. It's just that in the past, the vehicle was in a way an environment where you could preserve your privacy before the vehicle was connected to, I don't know, external data cloud, to additional service provider. But what we are turning the vehicles into now, I mean, if you look very pessimistic perspective, it's in a way some kind of surveillance machine. I mean, if you really go dark in this kind of train of thought. But the idea here is just to be actively aware of it and make sure that this is not what is happening at the end of the day. So it's not more like less secure or more privacy invasive than the mobile phone.
I feel much better.
Yeah.
But if I have another question, so of course not just for you, but maybe for all the panelists. So obviously all your excellent projects have been dealing with cybersecurity and also looking into the existing standards. I mean, you have a dedicated page including most available standards. So if I would just have a question, mainly for inspiring the discussion here. So what do you think that are already, I mean, if we look into the existing standards, what are not covered?
I would say, regarding the standards, I have 2 comments.
Please.
Regarding your question, I would say that maybe not in terms of cybersecurity, but in terms, as I commented, of deployment, of reliability, liability, maintenance of such solutions that are directed to the complete CCAM ecosystem. There are many standards related to OEMs, like the UN 155, okay? But there is not such a requirement for a complete solution of a CCAM ecosystem that also evaluates the red set units, the cloud, and the interactions, and all these things. For the designers of these kinds of solutions, we are missing this kind of solutions that for us is some inputs in order that when we design the system, we have this into account. As an example, imagine that we have a red set unit manufacturer, and this red set unit manufacturer, it goes into bankruptcy, okay? We were commenting yesterday this case. If we don't have this interoperability, how we are going, in this city that has this red set unit deployed, how we are going to replace them, okay? So this kind of deployment requirements, I would say, in terms that maybe it can come with a regulation. I think we understand that they are needed for this deployment of the solution. Another topic is related, as you are known, you commented, you know this hot topic that as you have seen these solutions, they share data. And you also know that many data of the vehicles, it belongs to the OEMs. So maybe one solution, if we want these collaborative solutions, also we need data for training the AI system and so on. There could be some kind of regulation that we can, maybe between all the OEMs and the infrastructure and the cloud provider services and so on, that we share some minimum set of data, mandatory, okay, in order for the good of all the citizenship, okay. This would be a really nice thing, and it's I think I've seen. I have heard this claim in many meetings, maybe for 2-3 years or maybe more years, I don't know you. So this is, and the last topic, I'm sorry, and this is an extra, is also in SELFY we did also some chapter of standards. So we were gathering all the standards related to our solution in terms of, for the vehicle, for the infrastructure, for the cloud, and so on. And we saw there are incredible huge of standards. At the end, as a designer, when you see that you have to read 20,000 pages of standards, some of them they are repeated, some of them they are contradictory in some points. It's really, really, really difficult for a design team to design a tool or a set of tools that satisfy the requirements. It's crazy. So we have a huge amount sometimes of information that also it goes in line with what I was commenting. You know, regulation, yes, we commented also here. Regulation, yes, but agile, please. So agile regulation, agile standards, and go fast. Otherwise, the others will go faster than us. I think, sorry, I took the occasion to answer more things.
There is, I think, one more thing that I can add, nevertheless. but I'm not sure. I would say as well, testing in real life environments, because there's the NCAP to which you have to comply as a system designer, but we know that this is tested on test tracks with cardboard humans on the road. Actually, that's the situation where you don't want your car to drive, but that's now how we test if they are safe enough for humans. So that's what I was thinking.
Actually, if I'm allowed, I have lots of questions, but it's actually for you, because we have been testing the collective perceptions in the city recently, and you just said that there are city administrators and also there are DPOs, for instance, participating and see the concerns of the privacy. So I'm really curious, could you elaborate a little bit more about what kind of privacy can be leaked here in this kind of test?
Yeah. When it comes to privacy, actually, when we test with sensors on a vehicle, that's not the biggest privacy issue. Like we don't need a permit or an approval to get that vehicle driving around. It becomes more tricky when you want a static setup in a city, so a permanent one that remains on an intersection for a very long period of time. That's when it becomes really, really dangerous for privacy. So there you need permission from cities to do that, or from an authority to do that. And that takes a lot of time, because there you have to really think about, are there measures that we can take to reduce the risk? And an example of a measure could be not put a regular camera there, but put a different type of camera that is less privacy invasive. For example, event cameras, they only detect the pixels that change in an image. So there you cannot recognize a person. So that's a possible measure that we take there, for example.
Because in our experience at the city side, we never try to classify any objects. They simply deliver this information, and usually they prefer not to take the liability what kind of object it is, and share it with the surrounding traffic. So that's why I was really curious about what your setup here. Are you trying to tell the vehicles that, oh, you get a pedestrian with name, or if you don't, I mean, if you're not able to connect to the identity with such a dedicated object, I don't think that's any privacy.
Yeah, it's never our intention to do that, but you can do that with that type of data. So if the data falls into wrong hands, you can identify people. But it's true, it's not what we're interested in. If it's Jack or John walking there, we want to know if it's a person or if it's a cyclist. True.
Thank you for your questions. Any other questions?
Thank you, very interesting panel, and it's working again. My name is Ella Peltonen from University of Oulu, and I'm here presenting the software-defined vehicle frameworks and projects we have a little bit sidetracked from the CCAM. Question is, coming from the vehicular side, very deeply in the CAN bus data management, especially what we are doing and trying to find out the privacy, security, especially cybersecurity solutions for the CAN bus. When you went through all of the protocols on that area, I mean, like those, these are based on your projects. Did any of those really address either the CAN bus or the other buses on the similar level, which is like a very physical, mechanical way of delivering data, really? And there is even a joke in the automotive community that the CAN bus doesn't need a firewall or any security protection because it's so complicated, no one understands it, so no one is going to hijack it. But that's not like we cannot trust it. So my question would be, what do you think about on cybersecurity perspective and those very low-level legacy buses on vehicles?
I mean, yeah, we didn't cover in the SELFY project, but related to the CAN network. Nowadays there is this SECOC security I don't remember it really well, which is addressed in AutoSAR and makes the CAN a bit more secure. This is a bit more, so it's one step beyond. There are also the secure transceivers, which I think there are some manufacturers that they are doing these secure transceivers also to prevent these flooding attacks and denial of service attacks and so on. But still there is much to do. I think also some technologies, I think we are going more maybe to Ethernet. So maybe we can put more focus there also. So this is another, I'm talking about in-vehicle communication. Maybe in out-vehicle communication with your framework that you were doing, maybe you also discovered there's some, or maybe this kind of protocols, they already have some more security measurements. In that case, yeah, no, okay, don't want to. So yeah, but regarding legacy, CAN, Lean, and this kind of protocols, I would say, yeah. For now, we have the SecOc. Maybe we can do more things. The speed of the CAN bus is going higher, no? I think we are now CAN FD and so on that we can reach, so we can put more security there and without affecting the performance, the real-time performance, which is another key parameter, I think, that it has to be, because otherwise safety is not guaranteed. So yeah, it's kind of difficult. But on, changing all the legacy systems or adapting all the legacy systems, it's difficult. I can also understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further question? So if no more questions, we would like really to thank you very much for all the detailed information you shared today, your insights, your experiments, and your outcomes and vision for the future. So many thanks to the experts, many thanks to the audience, without forgetting the co-organizers of this session, Marina and Lubomir. Thank you all for your efforts, and happy for the outcome of our discussion. Have a good day.